in child protective services, and they won't give them back to their loving families because they're making money.
This is a legal system that you're going into. And if you don't know the rules, you will be chewed up and spit out.
If I could say anything to a mother who just got their children detained, you're in a crisis. Yeah. Life feels like it's over. The most important thing is regaining custody of your children.
The child welfare system at its core is designed to protect children who need protection, okay? And that's key, is who need protection.
So social workers, out of fear, will remove more children rather than only remove those children that truly need to be removed.
It's okay. It's okay.
This isn't someone stole your car. Someone broke into your house. This someone took your child, your flesh and blood.
It doesn't say on this order that it was not proven. It says untrue. I immediately knew that, okay, well, this ain't over.
Were there signs there? Were there no signs? Did I miss them? Did I catch them? At this point, I honestly don't know.
Families only get a finite amount of time to reunify.
I came into this field to help families, not destroy them.
The difference between the criminal system and the child welfare system is substantial. You have more rights as a criminal than you do as a parent.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Fight With Me Fridays, where we focus on self-care and coping with our case trauma. Today, I'm with my guest, Tiffany. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good for a Friday morning. So, Tiffany, you also have your own channel. Tell us about that.
My channel is called Wicked Wise, and I try to educate parents. I've also put up body cam video of the police on my property in June and how I dealt with them. I have the actual CPS videos of when my adult children went down to confront CPS. And I put my information out there because I do advocate and try and teach parents that they do have rights, and it's educational. I have plenty of information. So that's basically what it is.
Awesome. And I have seen the video of her running CPS workers and the police off her property, and it was amazing. So if you guys haven't seen that, definitely check it out. So today we're just kind of playing it by ear. We were talking about earlier a judge, and we're going to see if we can pull up this video. So we came across a video of a judge literally training CPS workers how to traffic kids through the system for federal money. And this is really happening. Like, this is really their goal. And also, Tiffany, you mentioned earlier in the video of your kids confronting the CPS worker, you mentioned that not once did they ask about the welfare of the child in question. All they cared about was getting that signature. Tell us about that.
It was pretty much, this is how it went down. My son is kind of like me. Excuse me.
Oh, you're fine.
They wanted my daughter to sign a safety plan. Now, mind you, my daughter doesn't even live in Virginia. Okay. She lives in a whole other state. And my son was telling them that they didn't have jurisdiction. It didn't happen here. They could care less. They never asked one time where my grandson was, if he was safe. Nothing. It was, we need to sign a safety plan for his safety. My son said, wait a minute. Why can't she have her own safety plan? Well, the reason is because without consent, they get no federal funding. And without her signing that paper, they absolutely got zero funds for him until they lied and went to court and said that they had physical custody of this child, which they never had. So then after all the case was over, got dismissed, we won. My daughter gets child support papers because these people got a grant for my grandson because they said they had physical custody, which absolutely never happened. So guess what happened with child support?
So you're basically telling me that they lied on paper and said that they had your grandson in their custody when they never did, nor did they even have jurisdiction.
Nope. And I have the paperwork to prove it.
So what brought this whole case on in the first place?
Girl, this whole case was brought on. What?
For the viewers, for anybody who doesn't know the story yet, because it's just ridiculous.
Okay. So, and on my videos, I showed, one of my videos is why CPS was at my house that night. My daughter assumed that my grandson ate CBD gummies. Okay, no, not Delta 8, not the THC, just regular CBD gummies. Now they're big. They're like this big. Okay, he was 22 months. He didn't have all his teeth. Okay, I can't even chew them that fast. He could not have eaten 8. Okay, so she said, I think he ate them. I said, we'll call poison control, because 9 times out of 10, they'll just tell you, they'll look it up, and tell you what to do. Well, they told her, because she panicked, right? She's one of those overly protective mothers. If you got a runny nose, he's at the doctor. Yeah. If he sneezes, he's at the doctor. So they said, well, if you want to go, we'll call ahead. What's your address? Well, her address has been my address for 13 years. So she gave them my address. So she called me back and she said, they told me if I felt like he ate them to take him to the emergency room. I said, well, that's fine. Pick me up on your way. Now it's 5:00 in the afternoon. Okay. So it's rush hour. We get to the hospital. There's nobody there. She's like, oh my God, Mom, what if they call CPS? I said, don't worry about CPS. I'll handle CPS. So, we're there. I swear to God, I'm reading Litigation on 1983. This is the book that I was reading.
Is it the nutshell book?
No, this is just Litigation 1983. So we're there. Now, the emergency room doctor comes in and he's like, what happened? So I told my daughter just to shut up. I said, what she told me, I said everything other than where it happened. Okay. I said it happened at my house. Okay. Because I'm a grandmother. I get a little senile sometimes. So he said, okay, well, poison control said I just have to monitor him until 10 o'clock. I said, okay. So at 8:30, I tell my daughter, I said, look, after they took his blood, I said, look, I got to go home. I got a meeting tomorrow with the delegate and I got to get my stuff together. So I wasn't even home 15 minutes. I literally just stepped out of the shower. My phone's blowing up. I go to my phone. I call her back. I said, what's wrong? She said, CPS is here. I said, I'm on my way. So, of course, I'm breaking all kinds of laws. I'm doing 90 and a 55. I'm just trying to get to my kid.
Yeah.
So
now, pause. Did they ever get the results back if he has CBD in his blood, or can they even test for that?
Well, here's the thing. CBD, unless there's THC in it, does not show up in your blood.
So really, it posed no threat in the first place, health or
Correct.
Otherwise. It was harmless.
Correct.
Okay. And you don't even know for sure if he ate them.
Right.
I caught my kid eating spray cleaner once from this
Oh
thing
my God.
out called poison control. I was like, man, what do I do? She was like, did you find? So I get it.
Right.
I get it.
Right. So here's the thing. I had one of my grandsons one time come to my house. We're down in my basement because I'm a couponer. So I got to put out my poison in the wintertime, right? And he picks it up and he takes a chunk of it. I'm crying hysterically. I'm like, oh my God. They're like, ma'am, do not induce vomiting. He's fine. Just give him water and milk. That's what they told me, because it's for little tiny rodents, not rats and
But
raccoons.
still, I would have been freaking out. I would have been freaking
I
out
was.
just like you. Oh, man.
I was mortified. I'm like, I didn't even know it was here. So that's what I thought was going to happen with the baby. So I get back to the hospital, and I can sniff out a CPS worker just like I can sniff out a cop. I walk right past her. And she comes in the room. Well, at first I said, what did she say to you? My daughter said, she said, I'm with CPS and we need to talk about this. And my daughter immediately said, I'm not talking to you. I'm calling my parent advocate. So when she walks in the room, I said, why are you here? She said, who are you? I said, no, why are you here? She said, well, we got a complaint. I said, okay, a complaint is not a criminal offense. Now, mind you, this night, there were police everywhere. I don't know what was going on. State, county, and city police. They're all here at the hospital. They got people locked in beds and all kinds of stuff. So she goes, who are you? I said, well, actually, I'm a parent advocate, and I have been for 30 years against CPS. Well, then she goes, then she's ignoring me. And she says to my daughter, you're going to have to sign a safety plan or I'm taking the baby into custody. I said, excuse me, aren't those voluntary? She goes,
she said,
well, yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I said, excuse me. She said, yeah. And I said, okay, we're not signing anything. And she goes to my daughter again. Now she's ignoring me. I said, look here, lady, I'm a parent advocate. Not only am I a parent advocate, but just so happens this is my daughter and this is my grandson. And now I'm invoking her rights. So again, she tries to ignore me. Finally, I looked at my daughter, and I can't say what I said because it's a cuss word. I said, tell this wench you don't consent. My daughter looked at her and said, I don't consent. So she leaves. She's mad. Doctor comes in, says we're going to take because they put an IV in case they had to give him medicine in his arm, but they didn't give him anything. We're going to take the IV out. Baby's blood works fine. Baby's fine. And at 10 o'clock, I'm going to release you. So
what time is it at this point?
It's 9:40. I looked at my phone. I said, oh, God, it's only 20 minutes. We got 20 minutes.
But I'm confused at this point because normally if the CPS worker is called out to the hospital, the doctor and the worker are in cahoots with each other. And they're like on the same page. Oh, I'm going to hold him for you, Mrs. CPS worker. Okay. You know.
It wasn't the doctor. It was the nurse.
Okay.
She went behind two doctors' backs. Okay. The attending
physician. So the doctors weren't aware that she called CPS?
No.
Oh.
And the attending emergency room pediatrician. Both released this baby.
And she went behind them after or before he was released?
Before. Guess what she called? She called at 8:30 when I left the hospital.
Okay, so I always love hearing this story. So it's 9:40.
It's 9:40. They come in, they take out his little IV. She says, here's his discharge papers, just follow up with his pediatrician, whatever. So I tell my daughter, I say, let's go. She said, Mom, CPS, what about CPS? I said, don't worry about CPS, just get your ass in the car. I said, take him home because his dad had just got home. I said, take him home to see his dad. And before you take him home, stop at McDonald's and get him something to eat. So I follow her to her exit because we branch She gets on her exit. I get on mine. I come home. I swear to God, I walked in the house, looked at my husband and said, they're coming. He said, who? I said, CPS. He said, when? I said, I don't know. No sooner I told my husband that, bam, 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 bam. So I'm laying in my bed, right? So I said, is there somebody at the door? And just the look on my husband's face, I knew. So I tell people, if they're at your front door and you have another way out, you always go out the back or wherever, because they will ambush you. So I went out my garage door, my side. I have French doors. And the cop says to me, well, CPS is here. They want to talk to you. They want to go over their policies and procedures. I'm like, okay. That's exactly what I said. Okay. She starts talking.
And procedures.
Right. I don't care about your policies and procedures. You don't even follow them. So she's telling me, this is her exact words. You always have to listen to these CPS workers. Her exact words were, because you all left, I was told to come here with the police. First of all, you're on private property. I don't rent anything. I own my home. So she's starting to tell me that if we don't sign a safety plan, she's taking this baby into custody. I lost it. This is what I said to her. There's not going to be a safety plan. And I already told you that I sit on the criminal justice board with the NAACP. This girl has Fourth Amendment rights, Fifth Amendment rights. I'm not going to say exactly what I said, but if you watch my video, you'll know exactly what I said.
It was so good.
To shut up. And I'm not only a parent advocate against CPS, I'm her mother and the baby's grandmother, and she has 14th Amendment rights. Do I need to continue? Well, she's going to say, no. And I told her, I don't care how many police you bring here. They can't get in my house. You can't get in my house. Where's your court order? Well, we don't have one. I told them to get off my property. One of the cops said, we're not going anywhere. Oh, you're leaving because my will is stronger than your will. So
oh my God.
I called my daughter-in-law. I said, I need you to come over here. She came. When she came, she said, oh my God, Tiffany, it looks like a SWAT team's getting ready to hit your front door. I said, what? She said, because my road T's, this whole part had police. This whole part, they skipped my house and went down the street. So it's a T. So that really irritated me. So now I go back out. I raise my garage door. I'm 5'4", just big enough for me to get out. I go out. I'm going off on them. And I said, you are in violation of her parental rights. Well, this one cop is going to challenge me. Now, you already know that I know. And you're going to challenge me?
Anywhere, officer?
Yeah, I said, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And he started laughing because he thought I was playing. Ha ha ha. Oh, don't worry. We're not. Okay. But I'd already marched them off my property. So I walk out and I have the parental rights doctrine. Now it's not funny anymore. It's like, oh, well, I was just wondering. You're a cop. You're a cop. So anyway, now the sergeant, right? I'm telling them, do you all need a lesson in the Constitution? Okay? Because you clearly don't know what your job description is. So the sergeant walks over and is like, can I talk to you? And I said, yeah, I'll talk to you by yourself. So him and I had words too. You know, I'm trying to tell him, which I shouldn't have to tell him. You took an oath to uphold the Constitution and protect my daughter's rights. And you're not doing that. She has 4th, 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights. And you are only here to protect her. You know what he said to me? You're right. I said, I know. How ironic is it that you're standing on my property And I'm the daughter of a retired police officer. Every time I have an encounter with you people, he reminds me that you took an oath and you're not doing that. So, long story short, I told him, I said, I want you all off my property, because he said, oh, well, we're not going to enter your home. The doctor released you. There's no exigent circumstances. And we're going to leave. And my daughter-in-law was petrified. So I told her, you're not going nowhere until they get off my property. So he heard me out. He knew I knew what I was talking about. And pretty much he told the social worker, you know, even if I had a warrant to go in this house, I can't execute it till 8 in the morning. The laws have changed in Virginia.
And wasn't she caught on one of the officers' body cams saying, well, what are we going to do now? How are we going to get the baby?
Yeah, that's what she said. Well, what do we do now? Well, if you don't know your job, I will chew you up and spit you out.
That's what you do. You lost.
Right. You're trespassing. So then the next videos that I put up, because it went from 10:30 at night into 12:30 the next morning. So the next morning, I had my meeting with my delegate. I told her what was going on.
For that delegate meeting.
Right, and that's what I told him. Don't think I'm not bringing this case up, because this is why I'm working on changing the laws, policies, and procedures. And I told him right to his face, the police department, CPS, child support, and the family court. It all needs to be overhauled.
Yes.
All of it. So I'm so mad at the judge and the DSS lawyer too, because when they go behind your back and file an ex parte, and this is what I brought up to the delegates that I have talked to, you cannot fight an affidavit if you don't know that there's an affidavit being filed against you.
And that's a violation. Ex parte hearings in themselves, they're unconstitutional. They directly, just having one in the first place is a violation of your 14th Amendment due process rights.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now I got people blowing my phone up, right? Now this happened June 24th. No, my bad. This happened June 16th into the 17th. My kids went to on the 17th. They waited till the 21st of June, 5 days, to go get an emergency removal order. Now, the first judge that signed off, she recognized my name and passed it over, because this is the same judge that I told, I will leave your courtroom and go call a civil rights attorney, because I will not, and I am not going to let anybody take my free will from me. I don't care what color robe you wear or what badge you have on. So now I'm getting calls, right? Oh, Miss Wise, you need to turn your daughter and her ward over. Well, first of all, my daughter's in her 30s. I am not legally responsible for her. Second of all, if there was so much imminent
danger, exigent circumstances, yeah.
The two doctors would have taken him into custody, first of all. Second of all, she herself could have taken him into custody right then and there at the hospital. But you're going to wait 5 days and make up a bogus lie?
Exactly. Speaking of which, okay, so our producer says we have that video ready. So do you want to play it or do you want to finish?
Go ahead.
Okay, so just to show you guys how corrupt these judges are, this is a video that a judge recorded training CPS workers how to traffic kids through the system, how to legally check off all the loophole boxes so they can traffic the children through the system and get the federal grant money for their municipality. So let's go ahead and play that video, and then we'll finish Tiffany's story. Let's give it a second.
And if you are removing a child, a contrary to the welfare finding in that order is mandatory.
Right.
If you do not make that finding whenever you remove a child from a placement, you're forfeiting federal funds. You can get away with it under state law. It'll catch up later. Things will get fixed. But my recollection is that the federal government says if you didn't make that right at the outset, first time through, you're not going to get any federal money for those services ever. And especially in the private removals, I mean, CPS will have its documents set up so that you're making those when you're signing off on it. On the private removals, grandma trying to take the kid, even if all the allegations are true, parents are horrible, those kinds of things, if you don't go through and check some boxes or make a finding somewhere in those original orders, CPS is going to have a kid that they can't pay for.
And let me tell you, we just had this happen in Maricopa County. We've had, at Durango, I told you they have all of the cases going through one judicial officer initially for signing all these temporary orders. A petition was filed by DES, and they did an in-home petition. And they thought they had good cause for making this an in-home. So the child was not removed from the home that the child had been placed in. By the way, this was a 15-year-old mother who herself was a ward and was in a foster care situation, okay? But when that paperwork is filed with the in-home petition, CPS, and when we say CPS and DES, we're talking the same thing, all right? Child Protective Services, Department of Economic Security. They are represented by the AG's office, and you guys have told me today already that with the petition, they send over their temporary orders. In those temporary orders, they are designed for the in-home or the out-of. The judicial officer who read the petition thought, no way in-home, crossed off in-home, wrote out-of-home. But that, contrary to the Welfare Act finding, was not made. CPS is obligated, pursuant to that court order, to go in and remove the child. And right now, we're doing some backpedaling to set aside those orders so that that funding can attach to that baby and that. So anyways, if you are going to play with the paperwork that they're sending over for you because you think this child's at risk, make sure you have your staff call the AG's office and get out-of-home temporary orders put together so that you are making all the right findings or orders. Or if in doubt, call one of us and we'll walk you through it.
What happens, the question is, when a majority of the removal team under 8-822 doesn't agree with the removal? Is the remedy to dismiss the dependency, those kinds of things?
CPS is refusing to return the children.
Yeah. And my answer is no. And the reason is that there are two ways to remove a child. CPS can go in and grab them. They've got to be able to do that or people get hurt. The second way is upon order of the court, children can be removed. And I don't think you can say in good faith, well, it looks like CPS messed up, and so I am forced as a judge to return a child to an abusive situation where someone is going to get hurt. My answer is, well, that's too bad. There's must be some remedy in the law. Maybe it's a civil rights lawsuit or something for money if you want to pursue it. But once I've determined as a judge that this child should be removed, the answer isn't you messed it up previously and so we're sending the kid back. The answer is, okay, you're unfit. You go get a jury trial in civil land and convince them you're entitled to a bunch of money when the child should have been removed anyway. I would not return that child if, having gotten everyone in front of me, I determined the child should be removed. I just wouldn't do it. Child should be removed. I just wouldn't do it.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I couldn't hear it on here, so I was following it. Oh, I got a really nasty softball injury. Okay, so was that not educational or what?
That's what I'm talking about, right? It's all about the money.
So if I understood this video correctly, CPS not only reports to the Attorney General's office, but the Department of Economics. Oh, so Pennsylvania Progressive Movement, this is a really great viewer. How are you doing today, by the way? Wants to know, where can we view Tiffany's videos?
My videos are on YouTube. My channel is Wicked Wise.
And then Brian says, I have the foster agency jumping into my case with 8 feet. It's insane. It is crazy. It is crazy. So you have what, the Department of Economic Security the Attorney General's office, and CPS, which also was attached to the Federal Department of Health and Human Services, all in cahoots with each other. And this judge is like, so in their training videos, of course he said, oh, well, you know, where the child's going to be abused anyway. He does not care about the abuse. He wasn't talking about that. He was just saying that, you know, like to sprinkle sugar on it. You know what I mean? And make it sound less like this is literally like training and plotting to traffic children for money. And they're like, well, if you can't get away with doing it this way, well, here's another way, guys. And then also the comment that he made about, well, the parent thinks that they could just file this civil rights lawsuit and be entitled to all kinds of money. That's just simply not true. Oh yeah? You think so, Judge? You sure about that? When's the last time you did any fucking case law? Sorry. When's the last time you did any case law research? You know, please. Sorry. I'm trying to cut back on my cursing. Yeah. I swear I need a swear jar just for this show.
It just goes to show how little they care about the protection of these children, our children.
All about money. That was
absolutely,
all about money.
Absolutely.
Did I hear it correctly in the beginning? Did I hear it correctly when he said, what was he talking about? When a court order or like a safety plan or whatever, I can't remember what word he used for it, but when it's first, you know, started, the whole premise of this like CPS involvement is supposed to be designed as in-home services.
Well, he said, if you do not find any abuse on your first attempt, you forfeit your federal funding.
And that is why even when a caseworker, and I think this is also, gosh, it's like I got this horrible bruise from playing softball with my new church. But I almost think that it's like a ploy between the CPS field caseworkers and their supervisors. It's almost like, you know, because a lot of the times the caseworker will come out to the house and be like, you know, I'm just here to check things out. Don't worry. You know, you can tell me anything. Yep. I'm just here to get the good and the bad and the ugly. Oh, I don't see anything wrong here. And the next thing you know, she brings it back to her supervisor and boom, there's a finding. Supervisor, that's hearsay. You know, that's like, I was teaching about objections last night. I would be like, you know, if this were a court case, I'd be like, objection, counsel is testifying. Like, you weren't there. You don't have any firsthand knowledge. You have no firsthand knowledge about the home environment. You don't even know, you don't even meet the kid or their parents. But you're going to sit here and say, oh, there's a finding here. And I think they do that on purpose to like, so that, you know, I think the caseworkers are trained to like help the parents let their guard down and think that everything's going to be okay. And oh, the relief. And the next thing you know, they're ambushed.
Well, that woman that was with him said, if you want to play with your paperwork.
I know, I saw.
And you don't know how to do it, call the AG or call one of us. We'll walk you through it.
That's sickening. That is sickening. And this idiot, this judge had the audacity to undermine us parents, okay, seeking civil rights remedies for this domestic terrorism. But you're but you're dumb enough to put your name at the top of the video and distribute it.
And you know what's even more funny? What's even more funny to me is the Supreme Court of the United States has already ruled on this. Why are we still having these cases in these lower courts? They already ruled that it is a parent and child's right to be together. Less infringement from the government.
Yes. And that is how this country was supposed to be in the first place. There's this, I almost want to go get it really quick, but I won't. Maybe I'll share it next show. So I bought Common Sense by Thomas Paine and some of his other works. You know what? Oh gosh, I want to get it so bad. His introduction was so amazing. Okay, I gotta go get it.
Go get it.
Okay, and we're back. So, Common Sense by Thomas Paine. And I'm just sitting here and I'm reading this. So, oh gosh, I'm such a closet nerd. All right, so this is his introduction, and this was written, and like some of the things I had to like, I love the kind of literature where I have to have a dictionary next to me. It's just, those are my favorite. So let me see when this was written. 1737 to 1809 is when all of his works were written and published. Okay, so listen to this. Oh wait, that's the other chapter. Okay, and it'll be quick. So his introduction is as follows. Perhaps the sentiments contained in the following pages are not yet sufficiently fashionable to procure them general favor. A long habit of not thinking a thing wrong gives it a superficial appearance of being right, and raises at first a formidable outcry in defense of custom. But the tumult soon subsides. Time makes more converts than reason. As a long and violent abuse of power is generally the means of calling the right of it in question, and in matters too, which might never have been thought of, had not the sufferers been aggravated into the inquiry. And as the King of England hath undertaken in his own right to support the Parliament in what he calls theirs, and as the good people of this country are grievously oppressed by the combination, they have an undoubted privilege to inquire into the pretensions of both, and equally to reject the usurpation of either. In the following sheets, the author has studiously avoided everything which is personal among ourselves. Compliments as well as censure to individuals make no part thereof. The wise and the worthy need not the triumph of a pamphlet, and those whose sentiments are injudicious or unfriendly will cease of themselves unless too much pains are bestowed upon their conversion. The cause of America is in a great measure the cause of all mankind. Many circumstances hath and will arise which are not local, but universal, and through which the principles of all lovers of mankind are affected, and in the event of which their affections are interested. The laying a country desolate with fire and sword, declaring war against the natural rights of all mankind, and extirpating the defenders thereof from the face of the earth. So extirpating means like to completely seek out and obliterate. So extirpating the defenders thereof from the face of the earth is the concern of every man to whom nature hath given the power of feeling, of which class, regardless of party censure, is. Did you get that? That was powerful. It was very deep. So history repeats itself, and it will continue to repeat itself. What they were fighting against, the tyranny of the English back then, when America was first being built, is the exact same thing that we are fighting now. They have become the tyrants that we ran away from. But what did they do? They stood up and they fought.
And that's what I tell people. If everybody, now
they
listen.
blew up an entire harbor because they were mad at tea taxes. Come on, guys.
Well, we don't want to be blowing nothing up, Amanda. We don't want to be blowing nothing up. But what I tell people, and I can't emphasize this enough, if you read and understand your Constitution of your state and the Constitution of the United States, it's us that has the power, not the government. Yes. And until we take the stand and say we've had enough, without blowing anything up, Amanda, we take a stand and say we've had enough and we're taking our power back, nothing will happen. It will continue. We will continue to be terrorized by these people.
Yes. And that's what he was saying in his introduction. So basically, most of this book is about, like, you know, strengthening the people through knowledge and giving them like common sense. But what he was saying is, if you feel and if you breathe, if you are a living thing on this planet, the oppression of us people, regardless of your party or your class or whatever, it is an issue that affects us all.
Human.
Yes. Yes. And it's not, It's not even just an issue of our children being kidnapped by the government and trafficked for money. It's also the issue of there's so many other issues that boil down to the same problem, is our government has become way too powerful, and we have become far too idle.
And the Constitution was written, right, for the people to be protected from the government, not for the government to be protected from us. We have the power and we have to take it back.
Yes. So how do you suggest doing that?
First of all, I really wish people would pay attention. If they only would educate themselves, there's no better advocate for anybody but themselves. I just got to tell you that. Once you educate yourself, it's like, oh my God, I wish I knew this whenever, right?
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is they want to suppress us, right? To not educate ourselves, because an educated person is more dangerous than a person with a weapon. You can disarm a person with a weapon. You can't disarm educated people.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. The only thing that I am sad to say I have not been doing, and I should have been doing for a long time, is voting. I miss every local election.
We need to watch whose asses we're putting in our government.
Get involved with your city council, guys. Get to know your city council members. You know, each city is divided into different wards, you know, and there are council members appointed to like the different numbered wards. Some have just, you know, one super ward, some have like a couple of, you know, other wards. So city council members are actually a part of the legislative branch, and they have the authority to write and change local laws in their city. I did learn that.
I just made a post about this. Go out, right?
Yes.
Go out to these campaigns and ask the hard questions. Ask them, what are you going to do about family court? What are you going to do about CPS, child support, and the police? I guarantee you they can't answer you.
No,
or they won't.
We were talking the last time we were on the show together. That was one issue toward the end that really had me boiling, is the fact that I don't want to hear about your tax this or whatever that. I want to hear about what you're going to do about the government kidnapping our children. When are you going to repeal ASPA? Tell me about that. Unless you're going to address this national crisis of domestic terrorism, I don't give a what you have to say.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. Be careful who we're putting in office. Ask the hard questions. Because let me tell you, Amanda, you've known me for a very long time. And you know I don't care if I ruffle your feathers. I could care less.
I want you in my court case when it finally gets put on the docket. No, seriously. I'll fly you down here.
I'm here. I'm only 2 hours from you.
4 hours.
Well, whatever.
It felt like it, at least.
Right.
Okay. So we were also talking before about a new law that landed on the governor's desk.
Yes, it is a new law here in Virginia. And as far as I know, he signed it. I mean, I haven't seen anything where he hasn't. That before this new law, they were to, well, first of all, the federal government says that you're supposed to contact Kinship before you put a child in foster care, but we know they don't do that. There's no money in Kinship. Well,
but if they don't follow the procedures laid out, the Department of Health and Human Services has their own set of federal rules to get that money. And if they don't follow those rules by the letter, they're not supposed to get that funding. And I think
but they do.
Start being very sharp about that. We need to train ourselves, not just on the law, but on their rules.
That's correct. And I have their federal manual. So if anybody needs it, you can get it from me. I'll email it to you. But anyway, so a couple years ago, this law went into effect by a delegate here, same delegate that helped pass this new one. that children, before they can be removed, have to go to anybody who has a relationship, not just kinship. It's like friend, nanny, babysitter, grandma, whatever, as long as you have a relationship. Well, of course, they weren't doing it. So now she went back in and said, okay, I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt. So now this is what you have to do. Not only when you go in and remove a child, you have 15 days now to get kinship papers to a kinship, again, nanny, whoever has a relationship, right? You have 15 days to get paperwork to them. And if you deny them, you have to give them a real good reason why they can't take this child. Then the guy that was with her that helped get this one passed said, oh, and by the way, you need to look at your barrier crimes because they're no good, right? Like I use this, like I was telling my son, CPS will look at your criminal history if you have one and say, oh my God, Miss Wise had a speeding ticket, 75 and a 25, and had a kid in the car, which is reckless driving, right? So therefore, there's potential harm in the future. That's crap.
And they'll bring up a chart, and it could have happened back in 1991.
It could have happened in 1970.
Yeah, now that's definitely bogus. But there's another issue that needs to be addressed. And
tell me.
It's the fact that when they have these unconstitutional ex parte hearings to present their evidence to the judge, they're not following the rules of civil procedure. They're not following the rules of evidence at all.
I know.
And these judges are just signing these orders without seeing any evidence.
Amanda.
Everything these social workers are saying is hearsay. It's hearsay, all of it.
And
Even
I'm
if
working.
The social worker was there herself and saw something, it's hearsay. Where is your proof?
And I'm working on that.
Where's your proof?
I'm working on getting ex partes with CPS abolished. I'm also working on them going to schools and talking to kids, because if a police officer cannot talk to a minor, neither should CPS.
Exactly.
And I tell parents, if you have kids in school, you type up a letter that says, I don't care who you are, CPS, police officer, the guidance counselor, or the principal, any government worker or anyone involved with my child, you have to call me. My child has 4th and 5th Amendment rights, and you are to call me, a lawyer, or an advocate.
Yep. Amen.
And not only that, I am so tired of judges, right, signing off. And a perfect example, brought me in as a joint abuser, okay? On July 2nd, you know when I got served? 2 days before a court hearing. 2 days, not 10, 2. And it didn't even have my correct spelling of my name.
That's not legal. It has to be at least 5 business days before the court date. If not 5, no, I think it's even 10. I think it has to be at least 10. It's 10. I was in a case where Dad's crooked attorney tried to say that she could serve us 5 days. Well, it's 5 days. They changed it. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's 10. But my city attorney at the time let it slide. So, yeah, I thought it was 10.
Then he went back and told the courts that I said it wasn't me, right? And that somebody pointed me out. Well, there was only one other person out there, and my husband did not point me out. He runs. He can't stand the police.
So sweet. I love your husband. He's adorable.
I do too. And even him, They don't understand, right? You're not just traumatizing a child, you're traumatizing the whole family. My son, my daughter-in-law, my other grandkids. My poor husband was so devastated. I swear to God, I thought he had PTSD for a month. You can't traumatize me because I was ready, willing, and prepared for you. I knew exactly what was coming.
I need to like pull in your strength. Okay, give me some of that assertiveness. Come on. Dang, maybe I need to plan a visit up there soon.
Yes, you do. But the whole thing is, this is why I say, if you read your Constitution, you will understand. All men are created equal. It did not say that because you wear a robe that you are above the Constitution or the law. It did not say if you're living homeless that you don't have rights and you're not just as equal as the judge or a police officer. They didn't say your education. They said all men are created equal. And that's how I look at it. That's why I am not afraid of anyone walking this earth. I'm not afraid of what you'll do to me. I'm not scared of jail. No, you are not going to take anything from me or my family. It's not going to happen.
Amen. Amen. Praise the Father. That's what my new church people say. Praise the Father.
Plus, my dad was a police officer, so I got a lot of his attitude.
Yeah. Oh man, I was just about to say something.
I'm sorry.
I forgot. No, you're fine. So I bought this little book. Like there's like these little book series. There's like hundreds of them. They're so cool about any subject you could possibly think of. And I don't want to get up again. I'd feel like a jerk. But there is. So I'm reading this book, and actually, like I couldn't put it down. It was so good. There are evidently 4 different versions of the Constitution. No, I think there's at least 2, maybe 4 different versions of the Constitution, and we still haven't agreed on which one is valid. Like,
well, send me the books because I want to read them. Because
okay. I'm gonna get it. I'll be right back.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, definitely might get chewed up for getting up twice, and I apologize, Grace. But I just couldn't keep these to myself. So they're like $12 a piece. You can probably even get them cheaper. And this guy at the bookstore was also telling me that you can find a lot of free versions of these online, like in ebook form. You just have to keep your eye out for it. So they're the a very short introduction by Oxford Publishing. So this one is the U.S. Constitution.
Girl, you're going to have to send me those in a picture so I can't see that.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. But, oh my gosh, it was just so amazing. So it's talking about the American Revolution here. Oh, this was the preface. It's notably short. Framework, 350 million citizens. Okay. So such praise obscures the profound disagreements we have had about what the Constitution means. So there's conflicting interpretations. There's different versions of the Constitution because it was edited. And like you know what we need? We need a constitutional convention.
Yes, we do.
We definitely do.
I will be there.
We're almost out of time, but have you heard about the Family Rights Rally coming up at the end of May in DC? Are you going to be there?
I'm going to try and be there because we own a business, like you know.
Yeah.
And this is peak season for us.
Yeah.
So if I can get around scheduling people that weekend, I'm going to try.
Nice.
But I definitely want to go.
I want to go as well. I can't make any promises either, but I'm certainly going to do my best. I heard there's going to be some really amazing speakers there. I think you might have been the person to tell me that. Yeah. And yeah, so at the very least, hopefully somebody will be covering it live. And
That's
we can
what I
follow
said.
it on Facebook.
That's what I said.
Right.
Oh,
But
God.
there's strength in numbers, though. Strength in numbers. This is the kind of fight that we're talking about, that it's important and we need to be a part of it,
And this just brings me back, right? As long as we're not burning anything down, and you're right, together we stand, divided we fall, right? So I'm hoping that I can go. But either way, there's got to be change. There's got to be change.
Amen. Amen to that. Well, is there anything that you would like to add before we end our show for today?
The only thing I want to add is I want all parents to stay strong. I'm going to get emotional. Whew. It's a very long and hard road. I understand. I started advocating 30 years because of my own case. It was very detrimental. And when I advocate with people and I send them information, I just want people to know, once your case is over, help somebody else. Always pass your knowledge on, because the more people that we have that are knowledgeable, the better chances we have of getting rid of this and changing stuff. Because without people like me and other advocates and lawyers who really do care, nothing will ever change. And I just want people to understand, take care of yourself. Your mind, body, and soul have to be together, right? You can't be scatterbrained and try and work on your case. And you have to remember to take care of yourself first, because without your mental health and stability, you are not doing yourself any favors or your children.
Amen to that. Amen. And that is actually the very purpose of the show, and something that I struggle a lot with, especially considering this case. My daughter's birthday is coming up on Sunday. She'll be 5. This will be the second birthday in a row that I've missed. It's almost a year to date since I've had contact of any type with my kids. I asked them to send me pictures of my kids. They won't do it. I mean, it is so beyond out of control. And they're watching my shows. Like, they're watching all of my shows, just so they could bring it up in court. Anyway, it is so out of control. And it's gotten to the point now where they refuse to even respond to my emails. They won't answer my phone calls. They won't answer my emails. They're in violation of their very own court order, for goodness sake. And it just, to the parents out there who are just being railroaded over and over and over again, and the retaliation is just ridiculous. I understand what it feels like to feel hopeless. Like, I feel like David against Goliath, but where's my magic rock? I don't have one, so, by being open and vulnerable and honest with you guys, I hope to help end the stigma against mental health. And, hopefully we can find new ways to cope with the trauma that comes along with these cases. And Tiffany, you are an amazingly strong woman, and I have so much respect for you. I wish I had your gusto, but we can. You can teach me. We can learn how to be like Tiffany. What would Tiffany do? But yeah, I mean, really, thank you. Thank you for all of the work that you do and all of the help that you give to these parents. You run your own business, and you still find the time, to be a part of these organizations and try to change legislation, pass new laws, take the time to help each and every individual parent that reaches out to you. That's incredible.
Well, thank you.
Of course, of course. And thank you so much, Tiffany, for coming on today. And I will send you a picture of these books as soon as we get off.
Perfect.
Yay. So our next show is going to be Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be 1 p.m. Pacific time. And it's going to be CPS current events. So we will be keeping current with all things CPS. And thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you again, Tiffany. And I will see you all on Monday.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
All right.